Hello, welcome to BioGreat TV. If you're new here, please subscribe and turn on the notification so you don't miss our next video. How political parties started in Chad. From 1900, Chad was a French colony, although the first French arrival was around 1891. However, the decisive colonial battle for Chad was fought on the 22nd of April, 1900 at the Battle of Kousséri, after which French control was firmly established. After the end of the Second World War, in which many Chadian soldiers fought for France, local parties started to develop in the colony. The most notable political party formed at the time was the radical Chadian Progressive Party, PPT. The Chadian Progressive Party, PPT, was formed in February 1947 and was initially headed by Panamanian-born Gabriel Lisette, who was a member of the French National Assembly. But from 1959, François Tombalbaye took over the leadership of the party. The party was a regional branch of the African Democratic Rally, RDA. It attracted most of its support from the country's non-Muslim intellectuals. It was a more radical and nationalistic party compared to its main rival, the Muslim-dominated Chadian Democratic Union, UDT. The PPT was victorious in the May 1957 pre-independence elections, and Lisette was head of the government of the Territorial Assembly. However, on the 11th of February 1959, he lost a confidence vote and was subsequently removed from office. It fell on François Tombalbaye to lead the party and the government thereafter, and he became the first president when France granted Chad independence on the 11th of August 1960. In 1962, after a new constitution was adopted, Chad became a one-party state with the PPT as the sole legal party. As expected, the party won every seat in the National Assembly in the 1962, 1963, and 1969 parliamentary elections. PPT leader François Tombalbaye was also re-elected president as the only contender in 1969. In 1973, the party's name was changed to the National Movement for the Cultural and Social Revolution. 2 years later, Tombalbaye was removed from office in a coup and the party was banned in April 1975. The Chadian Democratic Union, UDT, was founded by mostly traditional leaders. It was a merger of a number of parties, including the Chadian French Progressive List, the Republican Union, and Franco-Chadian Progressive Group. The party served French business interests as well as a bloc of traditional leaders primarily composed in the Muslim-dominated North. The party members of the UDT party at first enjoyed easy victories for elective seats in the late 1940s and the early 1950s. However, from 1953, it began to weaken after a breakaway. In fact, one breakaway faction, the Chadian Social Action, within a short while gained preeminence over its parent party, the UDT. And about the same time, the rival PPT was growing in prominence. In the 1957 Territorial Assembly elections, the PPT completely dominated, leaving the UDT with only a marginal role. The party was eventually dissolved in 1960. Its daughter party, the Chadian Social Action, was banned 2 years later, along with all other political parties except the ruling Chadian Progressive Party. Several years of military rule and civil war followed after Tombalbaye's overthrow. Chad was ruled by one military faction or the other that period. Partisan politics were virtually inexistent until 1996, when the first multi-party elections were held in the country. After Idriss Déby, an army general who was part of a failed coup plot against President Hissène Habré in 1989, went on exile in Sudan. He and his supporters, known as the April 1st Movement, began carrying out attacks across the Chadian border, operating from Sudan. On the 10th of March 1990, the Patriotic Salvation Movement (MPS) was formed in Sudan through the merger of the April 1st Movement with other anti-Habré groups in exile. In November 1990, Déby and the MPS carried out a successful offensive and captured N'Djamena, the Chadian capital, gaining power. Déby then declared himself president. Idriss Déby, who had been in power as a military ruler since late 1990, won the country's first multi-party presidential elections under the banner of the Patriotic Salvation Movement (MPS). The party also won 63 of 125 seats in the January 1997 legislative elections. However, many observers reported lots of irregularities in the presidential and legislative elections. On the 10th of April 2016, Déby won a re-election bid for a fifth term, receiving 59.92% of the total vote. His closest rival and longtime opposition leader, Saleh Kebzabo of the National Union for Democracy and Renewal, placed a distant second with just 12.80% of the vote. Since opposition parties were legalized in 1992 and the country adopted multi-party democracy, many parties have sprung up in Chad. The number of registered and active political parties since then have grown to over 77. What have we missed out of this history? Let's know in the comment section. Will it be ridiculous to subscribe to our channel? If no, please like this video, share, and subscribe to our channel.